We're talking about Nestle. The company is been in the news for a whole host of reasons, including its quarterly results, the annual results that the company has reported, the outlook on growth, inflation, but more so for the recent news piece that has come by with regards to the presence of added sugar in its infant nutrition business as well. So we have with us the man who's known to take Nestle out of any sort of crisis and grow it through all of that, be it the Maggi crisis, be it the pandemic, or now that we're talking about. Suresh Narayanan, the MD of the company, joins in for a chat on CNBC TV 18. Thanks a lot, Mr. Narayanan, for joining in. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Let's get some of the important questions out of the way before we speak about the growth path for Nestle going ahead as well. The first one, with regards to the food regulation and the food regulators, has there been any communication with the FSSAI when it comes to them, testing some of your infant nutrition products?
Look, I think there has been no formal communication, but I think we enjoy a very professional and a very cordial relationship with FSSAI. They have indicated to us that they would like to pick samples of some of our products. Indeed, this is being picked up across manufacturers. So we wish to clarify that this is not just Nestle. There are different manufacturers. Their products will be picked up for analysis, whatever analysis that FSSAI chooses to do, and we respect that. And incidentally, infant formula, there is no question of there is no added sugar there at all. So therefore, the brand that comes into context is baby food, which is Cerelac. And I think one of the other things that to the best of our knowledge, and being a nutrition company, we should know it, is that there is no test for added sugar. Total sugars, there is a test, but added sugar, there is really no test. So it will depend on how the FSSAI would wish to evolve and wish to take this forward. But we are transparent, we are open. There is no question of any kind of obfuscation. Whatever they need to see, we will show them. Whatever they need to know, we will get to their knowledge. Because we have really nothing to hide as far as this unfortunate incident is concerned.
Absolutely, we take that point. But this incident came to light because of Public Eye's report. And the thesis of that report was the divergence in the presence of sugar across countries. So for instance, UK and Germany had zero sugar. Some countries had more than India. India was somewhere in the middle. So why exactly has there been this divergence? What explains this between two geographies?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, Mangalam, and I would indulge your time a bit because you know that I like to answer questions fully and not just give a tentative answer. Every formulation has got a nutrition profile. And this is globally determined, Mangalam. This is not something that I can decide in India, that this is what I want to do. This is globally determined. Fundamentally, it gives you the level of protein, the level of fat, the level of vitamin and minerals, and the level of carbohydrates that each serve of the product should contain for children below 18 months. Now, remember that this is a growing category where they need energy-dense foods. Now, typically, proteins, infants need between 10 and 15% of total energy from proteins. Now, proteins in our recipe of Cerelac is about 15%, which gives 15% of the total energy. If you look at fats, infants need between 20 and 30% of total energy coming from fats. Cerelac has 9.4% of fat, which translates into 20% of total energy. Vitamins and minerals, we add 10 vitamins and 4 minerals, which are essential for the growth of the infant. Carbohydrates, infants need between 50 and 70% of total energy from carbohydrates. Nestle Cerelac provides 68%. Talking of carbohydrates, carbohydrates come from sugars. And sugars are of two kinds, total sugars, and in total sugars, there is a subcomponent of added sugars. naturally occurring sugars come from milk, from cereal. So, for example, lactose, glucose, fructose from fruit purees and fruit juices. And there is an added component of sugar called added sugar. In the case of India, the FSSAI rules, which also follows global standards, indicates that you can add sucrose if it meets up to 20% of the requirement of carbohydrates, which translates on a per feed basis to 13.6 grams per 100 grams of feed. Against that, Nestle has got 7.1, which is fundamentally about 50% of the amount of added sugar. Now,
Right.
This added sugar, we have reduced it by 30% over the last 5 years. Two more points. Point number two, there are products in Europe and products in Asia which have both no added sugar and added sugar. The efficacy of the recipe based on local regulatory conditions and based on local habits determines the quantum of sugar that the product contains. The ultimate goal is that the nutrition profile that is meant to be served, which is what I talked to you about, carbohydrates 50 to 70%, proteins and fats, fats 20 to 30%, and proteins 10 to 15%, is what needs to be met.
I understand.
That is
Right.
that is the basis for whatever is being done.
Right. So, in light of that, you said that you are within the norms that are locally prescribed in each of the geographies that you, operate in. But if the globally accepted norm is that no sugar is the best, then why would you not have that as a policy across the globe as against looking at just local offerings that you're giving?
Look, in Europe, if there are no added sugar products and added sugar products, there must be a reason for it. So it can't be that it is only unidimensional, that only our products should have added sugar. I think added sugar comes from two things. One is the nutritional efficacy of the product, and some of it also comes from texturization of the product. For example, we add fruit bits, right? Cereal fruit bits. Cereal fruit bits are meant to give texture to the feed because the child needs motor capabilities as well to chew on the feed and to be able to eat that different kind of textures over a period of time. That brings in a little bit of sugar in it. And in India, we declare it transparently. So therefore, in the component, and again, the attempt that is being made over a period of time is to reduce the added sugar. We have already reduced it by 30%. Efforts are on to reduce it even further.
But you already have an offering which is zero sugar, right? And it is from your own company's stable. So instead of reducing it gradually, you just get that product into India. Is that a possibility? I mean, I'm sure there is knowledge sharing.
It is not as simple as that. No product is simply transferred from one geography to the other. There are local considerations as well, accepted practices as well. And I think we can have a greater discussion on this. But
Right.
At this stage, what we believe in is that efficacious nutrition is provided globally. Globally, we don't make a distinction between added sugar and no added sugar. And number three, the standards that are followed for added sugar in our country is completely, totally, fully compliant with the laws of the land. Now, if the FSSAI decides to change it over a period of time or do whatever they want to, they have the authority and we are obliged to follow. So that is something that is very clear. As I speak to you, there are ongoing recipes which are already being tested, which have got lower levels of added sugar. The goal that I have as a company is to reach zero added sugar for India as well.
All right. So, you said they're compliant with the laws of the land. There are laws of the land and there are laws of the company which are global. So one would have assumed that, you would choose the one which is more stringent. But be that as it may, infant food aside, even KitKat has different compositions for different geographies. what explains that? I mean, that's not infant food, but that's chocolate that all of us consume.
Every recipe, I mean, the samosa in the north and the samosa in the south is different. Every food product doesn't have to have the same ingredients to give the same benefit. In the case of Kit Kat, the fact of the matter is that the level of cocoa, because of the level of product that is being provided, the recipes are catered to the local requirements of taste. So if the Indian palate has got a particular taste, it's a little bit like Maggi noodles. The Maggi noodles that is made in India, the Maggi noodles that's made in Malaysia, are in terms of calibration the same, but in terms of taste, deliveries are different. It's the same that applies to Kit Kat as well, and it is also at particular price points. So therefore, for both the reasons of efficacy and of local taste preferences, products are designed. And remember, the policy of the organization is to try and cater products as much to the local palate as possible. Because I don't want to produce a product that is not meant for the local palate and come here and hope people to buy it. That's as simple as that.
All right. Just to further your samosa point, the samosa in the north is different from the samosa in the south. But if both of them come from the same brand, one will assume that irrespective of which part of the country it's available, it would taste standard. But
the Maggi from Malaysia and the Maggi from India is different.
All right, I take that point. But just for bookkeeping, how much does Cerelac generally account for in your overall revenue?
Well, Cerelac is part of the milks and nutrition business, which is 40% of the total company.
Yeah, so which is what I wanted to know, a sub-categorization, if you could give some more clarity to the street for them to understand the overall impact. But would you give us a sense, a broad number?
Well, it will be less than 50% of that.
Okay, less than 50% of that. So overall, less than 20% of your overall revenue. All right, Mr. Narayanan, just hold on to that thought. We'll take a short break, come back, continue our conversation.